at the ongoing Afreximbank annual meetings in the Federal Capital Territory of Nigeria. Afreximbank held its official launch of the Pan-African Payment Settlement System Marketplace. Afreximbank seeks to facilitate a more convenient cross-border payment, regardless of the currency being transferred from one nation in the African continent to the other, to make it fast and seamless. In his opening remarks at the launch, the Chief Executive Officer of PAPSS, Mike Ogbalu, talked about the 6-decade journey to getting a Pan-African payment system on the continent and the blockchain technology it operates on.
It is a privilege to gather with such an influential and visionary group of leaders, innovators, and stakeholders who share our commitment to reshaping the financial future of Africa. Again, this journey is a journey, I keep saying, a journey that started in 1963, where the founding fathers of the continent came together and declared that as a continent, we need a Pan-African payment and clearing system. That was 60 years ago. So this is a journey that has been long in coming. We created our blockchain infrastructure. It's a private permission-based blockchain infrastructure, wholly resident on the African continent. And we created a situation where corporates and different entities can participate on that infrastructure, and they are able to each come on that platform to say, this is how much local currency I have in one market, and this is how much local currency I want in the other market. So the PAPSS marketplace, first of all, is built on a solid blockchain infrastructure. Secondly, it's built to the best of global standards, and everybody that gets on the PAPSS marketplace infrastructure is fully KYC'd and before they are able to trade.
Still at the ongoing Afreximbank annual meetings, billionaire entrepreneur Tony Elumelu and former president of the Republic of Ghana, Nana Akufo-Addo, were part of the guests that attended the book launch of Afreximbank president Dr. Benedict Oramah. The book, titled Foundations and Evolutions of Structured Finance, in its second edition, breaks down the highly specialized area of trade finance and offers step-by-step guidance on structuring deals, along with exploring the scope of coverage beyond commodities and examining real-life case studies to draw valuable lessons. Jim Smith, the chairman of the publishing company Globe Law and Business, praised the authorship of Oramah.
Since the publication of the first edition, much has changed, not least new layers of complexity arising from an increasingly risk-based environment. The second edition contains much valuable new information, including new sections on reserve-based lending, supply chain finance, and new technologies for implementing structured trade finance. It is all delivered between two hardcovers with the remarkable clarity and authority which arises from a combination of the author's academic discipline and his deep practical experience. This is, without question, the most credible work on a complex and evolving subject. But this is not just a book for financiers. As has been written elsewhere, it's a book for policymakers, business leaders, academics, lawyers, and anyone who believes the power of trade can elevate lives and nations. And we all know that this is a theme which is close to Professor Oramah's heart. In distilling this knowledge into accessible form, he has done the global community a great service. So on behalf of us all, Professor, congratulations, not only on the publication of this important work, but on the legacy of insight and integrity that it represents. I'd like to end by presenting you with a framed copy of the cover as a small personal gesture of thanks for your achievement.
The first edition and this new edition of the book represent my effort to share the tremendous knowledge I've gained while practicing trade finance over the past 33 years. Primarily at Afreximbank, but also at the Nigerian Export-Import Bank. When I joined Afreximbank in 1994, the world economy was still grappling with a severe sovereign debt crisis, and structured trade finance was just beginning to emerge as a tool for financing trade in challenging markets. As Afreximbank commenced operations in 1994, we adopted this concept and practice due to its risk mitigation benefits. Essentially, it empowers practitioners to be innovative as its fundamental principle allows for the transfer of risks from parties who are less able to bear them to those who are more capable of absorbing them.
Arise business correspondent Rotus Oddiri joins us from Abuja, where the Afrexim annual meetings are taking place. Good morning, Rotus. Good to have you again this morning. Now, very quickly, how critical will this Pan-African payment system by Africa's financial sector, how critical will it be to the success of that sector? Bear in mind that this is not the first time we are hearing about West African payment settlement system or West African, union payment system. But let's talk about this latest, focus on the same issue.
Yeah, good morning, Dr. Abati. Good morning, Vimbai, Rufai, and all our viewers. We're live here right now. I actually have a dignitary speaking here at the Transcorp Event Center of the ongoing annual meetings. I think what's going to make the critical success factor is the buy-in of the financial players in the financial sector, including regulators. So Mike Ogbala, who's the CEO of PAPSS, you just listened to him a few minutes ago, he actually said that banks are offering PAPSS to their customers on their, the digital channels. So he mentioned UBA, he mentioned Sterling Bank, he mentioned Access Bank, and I think BCG, a bank, one of the largest indigenous banks in Ghana, that are already offering this to their customers. So he says that's just how it's going to work. It's going to depend on fintechs, commercial banks, using the platform and offering it to customers, and also regulators, being carried along, because with so many different currencies across 40-something different currencies across the continent, you are going to have different central banks that are overseeing this. I mean, Nigeria was praised for launching a new stable coin, embracing digital currencies, and also blockchain technology and the like. So, critical buy-in from the players in the sector and regulators will be key, and we're already seeing it.
All right, fantastic. I mean, I, for one, am extremely excited about it. I know how difficult it is to make payments from Nigeria to South Africa to Kenya and so forth, but we understand that there was also a fireside chat and Q&A with the audience, and you got to ask a question on some of the risks of the PAPSS. What was the response?
Yeah, so the fireside chat was between, Mike Ogbalu, CEO of PAPSS, and Ernest Mbekrum, who is the CEO of a company called Interstellar, which, funny enough, is the same title of a Christopher Nolan movie from 2014. That's a blockchain company that the Afreximbank partnered with in order to provide the foundation for the tech that will drive the Pan-African payment settlement system. So what I asked was, look, I mean, we had the West Africa Economic Summit, the inaugural one that was hosted by Nigeria at the ICC. And remember, we played a clip on the morning show where, of course, Bola Ahmed Tinubu has handed over the chair of ECOWAS to President Bio of Sierra Leone. And President Bio of Sierra Leone said he wants to see a unified African currency. So if you have a unified African currency, well, then everybody can you don't really need a payment system. However, that's a long way away, and that was Michael Balu's reply to me. It's a long way away. There's different challenges it's going to face. We can't wait for it to happen. Whenever it comes on board, the Afreximbank, he says, has enough data to provide to the different regions on how this would possibly work. But until that happens, this is much needed right now. For what Vimba you just said, trying to trade between different countries, Nigeria, South Africa, and the likes. For Mr. Umbetrum, who is the CEO of Interstellar, I asked him about, he mentioned stable coins. Remember, we talked about the Genius Act that was passed in the United States, that allows for a one-to-one value ratio with stable coins. Stable coins, for our viewers, are like cryptocurrencies, but have a pegged value to the dollar. So if my aunt in New Jersey can send me 1,000 stable coins in 2 minutes and I get the value here, then that, of course, could be another threat. But he said, listen, the technology is nimble. He doesn't see stablecoins as a threat. He feels that adoption of stablecoins is not going to necessarily cannibalize this Pan-African payment settlement system, because a lot of people are still nervous about them. They still want to just be able to trade in their currency. So the more the better in order to expand cross-border payments, but he didn't see it as a threat either.
Rotus, let's talk briefly about Professor Benedicto Rama spoke. Now, what's significant? How was it received?
The reception was very warm, Dr. Bati. You already mentioned former President of Ghana, Nana Akufo-Addo, being there, Tony Elumelu stopping by, and other dignitaries. Ben Akabweze, I saw him there as well. Even, I think, Lai Mohammed was there. So, former information minister. So, as far as the significance to the ecosystem, trade finance is a really technical topic. Structured trade finance. So that's what he's writing about. Trade finance, you're dealing with the regular tools that you need for an SME to be able to export. So letters of credit or bank guarantees. Structured trade finance, that goes into baseline commodities for large corporates, and really big other companies that have a higher level of risk and want to be able to, customize the type of deals that will allow them to trade. So, Dr. Rama, of course, he's been at the helm for so many years. He's worked in this field, and he breaks it down in very simple English for academics, for asset managers, for economists, and so on. Anyone that wants to pick it up to be able to understand how structured trade finance works. And since we talked yesterday about the importance of trade, it feeds right into it.
Fantastic. Rotus, sir. I hope you continue to enjoy your time in Abuja.